The Keshe Foundation, an independent, non-profit, non-religious, space-based organization founded by nuclear engineer Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, is introducing to humanity the science of the universe, plasma science. Keshe Foundation develops universal knowledge in space technologies that provide solutions to major global problems, revolutionizing agriculture, health, energy, transportation, materials, and more. The application of plasma science in the form of specially developed plasma reactors and other devices will give humanity the real freedom to travel in deep space. Plasma science exists throughout the whole universe. It is here and it belongs to you. Our knowledge, research, and development regarding the plasma structure has progressed to the point of enabling everyone to participate in the process. Become a creator and understand the work of the universe for the good of humankind on this planet as well as in space. The use of megravs, nanomaterials, GANs, liquid plasma, field plasma, and other plasma technologies have come as a new dawn for humanity to progress and work in harmony with the universe. Conventional technology applications are wasteful, damaging, and cause pollution to the planet and all living beings. Plasma science provides solutions and improves existing methods and use of resources in all aspects that touch the lives of all beings. Plasma is defined by the Foundation as an entire content of fields which accumulate and create matter and is not defined by its physical characteristics like ionization or temperature. Also, with plasma science, we understand how we can convert matter back to the fields. Quoting from Mr. Keshe, MEGRAV stands for magnetic gravitational, which means plasma absorbs or gives. And every plasma has the both. It has give and it has take. And when they can't find the balance, they distance themselves until they find the balance they can give to the others. That they can receive what they want to receive and give further. Certain atoms and molecules release and absorb magnetic or gravitational fields. Released fields are available to be absorbed by other objects. The Keshe Foundation has developed a way to gather these free-flowing fields from the environment within a resourceful and beneficial new state of transitional matter, which M.T. Keshe named GANs. The first step of the process of the formation of various basic types of GANs is nano-coating metals. This is carried out either chemically by etching, steam coating with sodium hydroxide, or thermally by heating, fire coating by gas burner. During either coating process, gaps between outermost layers of atoms are created. The residual coating is often referred to as nano-coating, defined by the structured layers of nanomaterial, which build up during the creation process of the coating. Nano-coated metal in interaction with other various metal plates in a saltwater solution creates megrav fields. These fields then attract available elements to form a specific GANs, which collects and settles at the bottom of the container. This GANs is formed from independent energized molecules like little suns that can be used in various applications.
Welcome everyone to the 188th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, September 7th, 2017. And once again, we have Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute available to speak to us. I think he's on the road there right now, but he'll be speaking to us, and then we'll have a more secure transmission a bit later, I believe. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you still able to contact us?
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you're in your spaceship coming around,
Spaceship coming.
landing
Yes. Good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these teachings. As we develop a structure for an international one nation, one planet organization, there are a lot of things happening, and we need to develop things in a much international based organization where we can do and deliver what we have promised to do. One is the delivery of one nation, one planet, and the other one is being able to deliver this in a very cohesive and a very effective way. The problem now we have with this the structure is the members of the council, both of the Universal and Earth Council, have got to get used to their position, what they are supposed to deliver, and what is their objective. This has become one of the biggest problems for the both councils as they structure themselves to take position and in a way to learn. We saw them last week, each one in a unique way have started introducing what they are here for, what they are about to do. And this is a learning curve for all the members of the Earth Council and Universal Councils. They have to learn how they set the structure to govern, how they set their structure to be able to deliver what has been part of their development. We have chosen the Earth Council and the Universal Council members by their own choice. And in the progress, we'll see a very dynamic situation, which is we watch them grow and we watch them deliver and develop systems that allows them to fulfill what they were set up for. That is, for them to be able to deliver a total comprehensive work for humanity and a long-term process for peace. The objective of setting up the Universal Council and the Earth Council is to achieve world peace, is to be able to deliver what we promised in a way that they become governors and they govern in an effective way, which means they understand the problems of the humanity, they understand the problems of us as one race, what we have created problem for ourselves, and over time, how we can overcome these problems. Partially, it's their work which is interesting for all of us, how they're going to change the process, how they have to come to understand the processes they consider. We call it as wishes. And secondly, what we are providing for them in a financial way that they can deliver these processes. They can deliver these needs because these are the needs of humanity. These are where we bring the changes. These are where we stay different than what has been up to now, using the technology, the strength of the technology and delivery of the technology to bring about the changes which we know are needed. We cannot overlook anyone, any shape, any form, any language. We have to be in a way of be able to deliver a total comprehensive system that the need of the all aspects of the work of the foundation can be met, which means we can look after the poor, we can look after the needy, we can look after the education, we can look after the peace in an effective way that we can deliver all our objectives. We can deliver all our needs and the need of humanity. As I said in the previous teachings, by selecting and having the Universal Council, the members of the Earth Council, selecting and choosing and signing the peace treaty, and in accepting one nation as one planet. The problems are not finished. It's the beginning of solving a bigger problem. We have to learn, as I've said in the previous teachings, we have to learn that we become part of a structure where we do not change the criteria from one border, from one barrier to another. In a way, we have to learn that we do not change the border of the nations, as we said before, to border of the languages, and then other borders and other divisions, which has been the curse of humanity. By dividing ourselves to become identified as something special, we create separation and division. Through this process, we come to stop. We come to stop all that is being the problem for mankind, in a way that we choose to be no different than the others. We choose to respect each other. We choose to become as part of one society. This be the planet, this be the galaxy, this be the human, being the plants, being the animals. We have to consider totality. We work on one direction from now on, which is what we call the soul of the man. And this is important for us. Rick, I'm going to change from one unit to another. If you just give me 1 second, please. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so we just changed this now.
Okay, try it again, make sure it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, we hear you pretty good there, Mr. Keshe. Not sure if you hear me.
Yes, okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What we're going to do is for us to understand the next step in development. The next standing in both, in real understanding of the work of the foundation, the work of the setting of one nation, one planet, which means we need to understand the full work of what we are getting involved. What is the development of the technology is going to be. Um, the technology will feed into supporting the work of the two councils, and in a way allows us to teach more people about the work of what we do, how we develop. But this time we can reach in different way of the what we call through the soul of the man. In distance, deep space, we cannot send messages and wait for ours to be received. If the man learns that through the process of the soul of the man, interaction with the soul of the man, he can reach much faster and much deeper in every essence the work of the interaction and interface between different aspects of the work of the universe. It is important for what we call Universal Council, the Earth Council, to establish and structure what we call the Charter. In a way, the new name for what you call books of guidance, what we call the books of the prophet of the past. Because now that we are educated in understanding our soul is responsible and control of our physicality and what we do, we come to understand and go one step further. And that is, now in this process, we understand one thing, and that is up to now mankind was waiting for guidance for what we call prophet. And most of the teaching in the shape of prophetism was that they guide us what to do and what not to do in a physical life, how to behave. Now that we have become educated in understanding the truth about the creation of man, and that the soul of the man is the center of the operation and control of the physical life, now we have gone a step further, which means now we understand we work through the soul, through our own inner being. And in that way, we do not need instructions to become or to follow certain rules, to wash your hand this way, to pray this way, to not to lie, not to do this or whatever. Now we understand the responsibility of the physicality is in the hand of ourselves. So we need a new way of teaching, a new way of understanding, a new way to understand, to get confidence in our own soul, that we are the creator and we are responsible for. So in this process, we have to write a new charter. We have to write a new books of guidance for humanity. And this is not going to be done by one person, prophet so and so or guru so and so. This time has been left collectively for the human race to write the book of conduct of man. And this is a big difference, which means all of us have matured to become equal to the prophet of the past, to control our own conducts. To many of us, this is a huge leap, and then we create problems because we don't want to accept responsibility that we are responsible for our conducts. So this is the change. Then what we call the charter, which now the guidance has left with a group of people, is not one person anymore that we follow. This is what I said from the beginning. Keshe Foundation, One Nation, One Planet, Universal Council. There are no more prophets, there are no gurus, there is no head. That we are all the head. We are all responsible for conduct of our physicality, and the faster we learn, then we become to join what we call to become one race. Because then there is no soul which is black, there is no soul which is white. We don't have Chinese souls and we don't have American souls, we don't have God knows whatever, because all the souls are the same. They shine the same, they radiate the same, and their attributes is the same. So this is the change of course. So we don't need to create a new religion, new guide, new whatever. The
us, which is us, which is our soul, become responsible. In so many ways, for what we've been dictated what to do and what not to do, and now become to be responsible for what we do, it's the consequence of what we receive, it's going to be a lot of shock for other people. Means accepting a lot. In that process, we have asked the two councils, with the support of the core team, to start writing at least basic guidance, which is away from physicality, conditions of punishment. Punishment does not exist. It's me who do not receive. It's me who allows myself to be positioned in a place to serve more. So this fear of punishment goes out of the structure. It's me who decides how I want to elevate the others, and not I want to be elevated. The game changes. And then in this process, there is one beauty, which means we do not need for people to tell us what to do. Doing correct is becomes part of our habit, part of our life, part of the structure, which means we have matured, which means we become the teachers, where up to now we need the teachers we call prophets. Because now we know I do not care what I lose, as long as I can elevate another soul to reach its goal. This changes, there is no punishment, because it's you who decide what you want to give. So this new way of thinking needs new guidelines, new way of understanding for those who just come into it, and the guidelines for those who set it up to understand is inclusive of everything which is in this universe as a whole. When we speak about the structure, writing of the charter is not writing that of hunger, not writing of shelter, not writing of health, not writing of every other thing which is the concern for today. With the new knowledge, we know there shall be no hunger. Where now we know 20% of our need is through physical material, and for it we kill a lot. Do we get the permission from the cow to use his body? No. Do we get the permission from a tree to use its fruit? No. Do we get the permission from wheat? Can we eat you? No. So we have become dictators of our own killing machine, and now we understand there is another way. There is a system the whole universal system works on that does not kill anymore. We can absorb energies in a way that we need in the depth of the space, without waters, without food, to compensate for that 20% physicality which is connected to the physical structure of this planet. So hunger becomes meaningless. Shelter becomes meaningless as you create your own shelter as you need, in any space you need. Energy has no meaning, because your soul is the center, is the sun. How can the sun be cold? It's us who has to learn the conversion in a real term, universal condition. Then when you write the charter, it'll be very much unimaginable that we can write about these things anymore. But what we can do, we can write about the elevation of the soul. The new guidelines should stand for millions of years, not hundreds or thousands of years. And then it has to be correct. It has to be on conduct of the soul of the man. As we said at the very beginning, true and unification does not matter what color, what language, what nationality which used to exist in the barriers of the man's brain. Now we bring singularity, oneness, and with this we bring peace. The whole objective of the whole process before man enters universal community is peace. The Keshe Foundation work is in that direction. We do not consider any further in a way of our work that what is going to be. What's going to be with the hunger? What's going to be we hear in disasters in the United States? Natural processes, what we call disasters, is for us to understand that we can move away from and go back into. But we chose the cars, we choose to fly out, we choose to make a shelter to hide in from whatever is coming. But if you understand that we can work with the soul of the man, not only us, we can even move the trees, the soul of the trees, the plants, the animals who are on the way. This is the new knowledge and the strength which man has gained. At the beginning, which is now, when you write a charter, it looks a bit funny, how can I do this? But understand one thing, when the man's soul collectively in the councils writes in the pen of the soul of the man, the first charters, it'll become the law, it'll become the outcome. It'll become the setting. So when you write in these teachings, especially on Tuesday afternoons, now that we see a workshop is set up, especially for this kind of work, you'll find out what you write in the name of the soul of the man to be, will become to be. It'll become the conduct of the soul. We got to understand soul cannot steal. Stealing is the habit of physicality. So it's no use when you write in the charter, thou shalt not steal. That can never steal. As I explained in the councils, you take 4 or 5 magnets, especially the round ones, and place them on the table. When you put a magnet inside, they all take new positions. The one who wants to join you, joins you. The ones who's positioned to be distance, move away. You cannot steal. Souls do not steal. This was the habit of the man to justify to have physicality. This is how we become correct. It's the job of the councils, the earth councils, the universal councils, with what the core team is there to support, to write a new charter, a new book of prophecy, of man, peace, man, unification. Not only on this planet, not only with the other being on this planet, but beyond. This is the job of the councils. And we see them growing, we see them mature. They set up the one nation, one planet, signing of the documents of peace treaty. Last week, for the first time, you saw them coming to present, partially at the beginning, and if you look in depth, you see, as I explained in the other teachings on Tuesday, very clear 3 different ways of councils of courting. We saw how the members of Universal Council are still tied up with the physicality of this world. What happened historically, where history in the human race will not come up anymore, because we'll be ashamed of what we've done to ourselves and the others. It'll be something we would not like to talk about, because we were wild. We are still wild, because we use others. And we see this in the teachings and the way the Universal Council is shaping itself. Then we see the Earth Council members, how they shape. They look and they come up with totally different concepts and aspects of the one planet, one nation. Listen to the last week's teaching. They both had 1 hour or so to present. The first steps, the first entry. This is where we are going. The peace process will come through writing the ethos, and it discussed openly. Come in board, make your point. You see different lights in how our souls should be or could be. Each one of us has his own beauty. Is not anymore somebody will decide. Come in, participate, especially on Tuesday afternoons as the charter is getting written, on the same number, on the same visit point. And then a structured charter or book of prophecies of a man, which means we don't prophesize, we become the prophets of ourselves for our souls. We don't do it for the others. When you write the charter, write it as is for your soul, not as for somebody else. And then look how you can elevate your soul to that position. The elevation comes by giving and not by taking. The elevation comes by loving and unifying. The game has changed. The game changes quite a lot when we understand we are the tools of the progress of the man for other souls to progress to the higher levels. A father sacrifices his life for a child. A mother does the same. We don't sacrifice. We give freely, that by giving we elevate the other souls that can serve humanity better. The charter has to be written. The book of laws of the soul has to be written by man, and not written or given by somebody else when the man does not understand his soul. Many people write to me and they say, can you explain where can we find our soul? Your conduct is the progress, advancement of your soul. Try to learn new ways how to reach the other souls. By reaching the other souls, you find the potential of your own soul. It's not looking for what I did, what I get, but giving it unconditionally and seeing them elevating in the way of their own soul, in their conduct. It means you have found your soul. A man should not look for a physicality of the soul, but a man should look for the strength of what he can do with his soul. That elevates the others in the position of elevation of theirs to reach that they can elevate the others. And then in that process, might be some fields which you receive in the process of progressive, what I call development, that elevates you. Not to give to be elevated, to give unconditionally. This is the secret of the creation. This is the secret of the creator. And this is what we got to learn. Participate in writing the book of man in the conduct of his soul. I always said, when I write the book of the soul, will be the last book, and it's the time when I leave. It's for you to write the book of the soul of the man. And then the physicality will follow. And this is what the function will be. We allow every week for the Universal Council members and the Earth Council members to participate, to come in and explain how they evolved, how they see we need to write the charter. But at the end, when the councils agree, with a discussion with the humanity, because each one of us now has been elevated to be responsible for our souls, we can discuss what we think could be and should be part of the charter. Part of this book of the soul of the man, written by the man, because as is in the book of writing of the prophets, the level of understanding of the man at the present time, when he understands the mutation of the elements, reaches the level of the prophets of the past, which means passes the physicality. How many times you have to pray and how you wash your hand and what you have to do. Because when you reach to the level of the prophet of the past, it means you gain access to your soul to control your conduct. Then it's upon you how you decide to go. Carry on with the physical life and stand by all the suffering with it, or elevate your soul to the point of you live through your soul, which there is no punishment but beauty of giving. Every week we give floor to the councils, and then we add more to the knowledge of the soul and the physicality and the space technology. But priority for us is peace. Achieving world peace through understanding of new technology, which allows the charter to take shape, is the priority. So in the coming times, you will see more and more we give floor to the councils and the members of the core team to bring in how they think, and then it's your job to see what you can add to. There is no point of disagreement anywhere. There is no devil advocates, I'm here to see what happens. Those who come with division, they'll find their own demise. Those who come to find, to progress, to develop, they'll find joy and satisfaction. Do not think of all the negative things. These are of the past of human race. Think of it positive. Think the way you reach it. Think the way it can change the life of the others, and then progressively you change. You change the humanity. I teach you more and more how to find your soul's power, not to find your soul. Because your physical existence is the confirmation of existence of your soul. What you want to look for. A heart to open up and touch and play with, or understand what I feel through my soul, manifest myself in physicality, and in a way manifest itself in others' behavior and physicality and elevation of their souls. We have to mature. It has come to the point that the man has matured, and Keshe Foundation supporters and the people, knowledge seekers, we call millions of you, have gradually built up to this point. We are at the verge of tipping the balance. In time I'll explain. The world peace process, the unification of the nations, support to reach it is a very heavy discussion for us in the background. Today, where we sit, where we look, where we teach, governments are not bothered about what, who said what. Governments are now bothered how can we change the course of our nationals. And now it's past the nationals, how can we change the course of the humanity. Introduction of languages as tool of unifying, doing with the national borders, has been found to be one of the solutions for unifying mankind. But as long as the languages does not become another imaginary borderline, languages are access to the soul of the man, and in a way all the souls are the same. It depends what filter you put on it, you call it the language. Take the filter, the suns are all the same, shine the same. So souls cannot do wrong, but are different ways of accessing the information and converting that into physicality. The more and more we learn, the more we understand we are all the same. As it's been said many times, we are all the fingers on the same hand and the cells on each finger. We need each other to be able to function as one, collectively the correct way. We need to be able to understand it's not important for me to be, but it's important for me to make sure the others who are stay a positive, comfortable existence. Then you find out my life becomes comfortable too. But not to give it to make sure I receive it, but give it unconditionally, that I have to find, my soul will find its own position. Many of you have this problem. How do I know my soul works? How do I know what I can achieve? I'll give you a tip. Try it. And then do it with sincerity, not for sake of seeing a result, but do it with sincerity that you receive the elevation of the soul of the others. You have a lover, you have a husband, you have a wife, you have children, you have friends. Think about them. What is bothering them? What is suffering for them? And try to give from your soul, that they receive so much from you, that what has bothered them, what has been suffering for them, find the solution. You don't need to talk, and you don't need to wait for the result to see at work. Just do, and then you see the result. You see that you elevate them out of their pain, because they receive, they don't have that strength to add. They receive it from you, and they find a solution. And then sometime in the future is not there, and they say, oh, I accidentally thought that it happened. But no, oh, I gave, and I managed to elevate the soul. Alleviating the pain was my thinking, but I gave enough unconditionally that if it was needed, has received and it brought the change. Do not think anymore, oh, I thought it happened. No, I wished it, I gave, and it's beautiful to see it happen. It's different school of thoughts. It's different way to reach. It's the way the prophets of the past lived. Christ did not go on the cross to see if I can have 2 billion followers. He went on the cross for a different purpose. And that purpose brought man to this point of 2 million people believing in his principle, but some not following his principle to how to suit them. Because when you commit yourself to a prophet, you commit your soul to it, not your physicality. And now, if you commit your soul to peace, mankind will reach peace. We hear world governments start talking because millions of us have started thinking, oh, it's coming from this government, have you seen this? But stand still and think. We thought about it, we decided, we put our soul in it, and this is the fruit. World peace has to be the criterion that the Earth Council, the Universal Council, Keshe Foundation, all financial supports, the core team, all the strength and humanity has to go towards to. I have spent every second of my life to bring peace. And through my strength, I achieve it. The peace, the way this race has set for itself, looks very difficult. But the peace to achieve for this race is so easy once the man touches his own soul, not the others. Do not work with the fear, but work with the strength that I can give unconditionally, that my existence is irrelevant if we can feed the forces that brings peace for this planet. In the scriptures it says, the time comes when the lion and the lamb sleep next to each other. The lamb is the soul of the man, and the lion is the physicality of the man. It's for us to understand both, that both can live within a peace of each other. When the physicality doesn't do wrong, the lamb and the lion are at peace. When you kill as a lion, the soul, which is the lamb, has to find to compensate for the wrongdoing of the physicality. And this keeps it away from reaching the level of its evolution to a higher level. We evolve. The evolvement of the soul of the man comes through the physicality conduct of itself. How we conduct ourselves in physical life gives rise to our soul. And this is what the man has to understand. This is why when you go into space, no one can fool you that I'm a king, I'm a new priest, I'm a new prophet. We are all Messiah, but we are the Messiah of our own souls. And this is the reality which we have to understand. Because in conducting correct, we don't need to teach no one, because we become the teachers of one. In many of my talks, I always say, I am the Messiah. But I'm the Messiah of my own soul, that I make sure my soul conversion to my physicality does not do wrong. Then that becomes the path, because that's the energy I elevate, and that's the energy emit, that it receives by those who are of the same school of thoughts. We've seen and we see our progressive development as a race, as on the planet, from now on, is in the hand of those who understand this point onwards. We don't preach, we enlighten for the man to find his soul. Participate in development and the writing and in the scripture of peace through the work of the, what we call Universal Council, the Earth Council, and writing what we call the Charter. The Charter is not for the others. What you read in the Charter is the development of your own soul. As I said to the Council, I can write the Charter in one sentence and applies in any dimension in the universe. As a man, you like to put more of your pains, what you see as wrong, as one line of the Charter. Write it, and then look at it in a few months' time. That became irrelevant. My wish to achieve world peace will be done, because it's the dream of every soul. But now we have united the souls, and this is what the progress will be. Not having fear if you're going to have a peace, but having the knowledge that we have achieved peace is the beginning of the process. The technology will give every need of the man. Then when you have everything you need, what is going to be left except peace? That you can travel the depth of the universe and be of the same. You become the prophets of those in the space who do wrong, if you find any. Because you teach it to your soul and you touch their soul, so they adapt to you. It's like the way we say, you have two plasmas, one of the weaker, one of the stronger. The stronger, which is your soul, has learned to be correct, will give to those who do misconduct and elevates them to become like you. This is the beauty of the new teaching. This is the beauty of understanding the strength of your soul. A sun never dies. It shines till it amalgamates with another, or it shines more to give more. And the soul of the man is the sun. It's for us to understand, do we choose it to behave or be like a Venus, or to be like Jupiter, or like Earth. The same sun, the same ray, but different manifestation in different position of the strength. Participate in writing the Charter, because that's a charter for the soul of the man, not physicality of the man. Never be afraid to evolve, to elevate, but be afraid that if I don't give, what happens? You cannot steal, but by not giving, you have already stolen from yourself, because then you have not given what it's got to be and not received what you were supposed to receive. So in a way we steal from our own soul, and no one likes to be robbed. Then our conduct becomes correct. Are there any members of the Universal Council who would like to bring us more knowledge today?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Gatua. I would
Good
like
morning,
to...
Dr. Katwa.
Yes, thank you very much for all your excellent enlightenment and what you're doing for the soul of man globally. I'd like to share screen and hello, I'm going to talk about ethos of peace, and I'm Gatua Wabuwa. I represent the Gikuyu language and the Gikuyu people in the Universal Council. In this presentation, I'll talk about ethos of peace. I'll have a few questions for discussion here and there, and then I'll give a brief summary in Gikuyu language, as we have all heard from Mr. Keshe that languages touch the soul of man. And then I'll have a few minutes for an open discussion where other members of the councils and other participants are welcome to give their opinions about ethos of peace. So the Keshe Foundation and all its associated councils and teams, that is to say Universal Council, the Earth Council, and the core team, have a common ethos that can be simply summarized as, quote unquote, we are here to serve and not to be served. Then why do we talk about peace and why ethos of peace? So in your own opinion, is peace important, and if so, why? And what does the term ethos of peace mean to you, and why is it important? You can write your responses in the chat if you are not a panelist, and I will give a few minutes for those who want to respond verbally to these two questions. Anybody can respond who is a panelist, and whatever is written in the chat, I would ask Rick to please read them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gachua. I was trying to see here. People will get their thoughts together. And looking in the live stream as well. If someone there has comments.
If you can get even two, that will be fine, and then I'll continue.
Okay,
and then probably we can read the next later.
We can start with Krasimir, who's got a complete sentence here. Peace is important because it is and will be the base of humanity in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there another one?
Mark Erb says, it means I will not be eaten.
Okay.
Eaten, like eaten.
Is there anyone who would like to say this verbally to respond to these two questions, or one of them? Please go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning. Is it Azza?
The man can be peaceful. The meaning of the peace is when you allow me to read your mind, then it means you're peaceful. When you have nothing to hide, that's means you're peaceful.
Thank you very much, Azza. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much to all those who contributed. I'll go ahead with my presentation. According to Webster's dictionary, ethos means the distinguishing character, sentiment, moral nature, or guiding beliefs. These beliefs should be actually principles, not beliefs. Because once you know, now you no longer believe because you know. So knowledge, or a person, group, or institution. So this is the guiding, like Mr. Keshe said, the book of guidance that we are writing. So that is what ethos do we use, what guides us for now. Peace and ethos of peace are very important to the Keshe Foundation and all its associated councils and teams. We have often been told that, quote unquote, if you want peace, prepare for war. But is the above statement correct? How could you have peace when you are preparing for war? If you wish for war, you would get war, in my opinion. And that's what mostly has happened in the past. So now, preparing for war is inconsistent with our ethos of peace. A paradigm shift is therefore appropriate. So, if you want peace, prepare for peace. That is what would be consistent with our new ethos. We prepare for peace, we wish for peace, and we would get peace. To bring about global peace, which we are trying to do, and Mr. Keshe has been doing this for many years, we serve through love, unity, wishing, and giving, among others. So, what is love? Why love? Love, we have been told by Mr. Keshe, conquers everything. So we must or should uh, make sure we know how to fall in love with creation, all creation. When you love, you have no enemies. Unity. The Universal Council is structured on languages, and we have learned that languages touch the souls of their speakers. Languages touch the souls of man. The more united we are in our, the more united we are, the stronger our wishes. And this is because thoughts have magnetic gravitational field strength, and the more people are united, thinking about peace, the greater field strength we have, and the easier we realize what we wish for. So unity through languages without borders, because languages are not necessarily spoken within a particular territory. People have moved globally. So we are talking of languages without borders or reaching those who speak particular languages wherever they may be. And how about wishing? Our wishes are our commands. So when we wish for peace, we get peace. When we are united in our wishes for peace, we get peace even faster. And giving. The more we give, the more we receive, and the more we elevate our souls. In elevating our souls, we also elevate all other souls as we are all connected. So giving is very important. And Mr. Keshe even said this morning that when you give unconditionally, that's when you receive. So, like the sun, we wish to give unconditionally in all directions and at all times. And in so doing, in giving unconditionally like the sun, we will receive abundance, abundantly. And peace is very important in our wishes. So, what have you been doing? The Keshe Foundation has brought plasma science and technology. It has released technology in exchange for peace. We learn and teach these science and create technology, new technologies, peaceful technology. Recently, the Keshe Foundation organized the signing of the World Peace Treaty, and that signed World Peace Treaty can be found through the below website URL, link to the website. And now we are united as the councils, Keshe Foundation councils, the Universal Council, the Earth Council, and the core team to write a charter for a peaceful one planet, one nation, and one race. that we want to bring about, and that has already started. And Mr. Keshe mentioned that earlier this morning. So now I would like to give a summary of peace, ethos of peace in Gikuyu. And of course, I might remind you that Mr. Keshe says languages touch the souls of man. So it's very, very important to speak to those we represent in languages that touches their soul, that touch their soul. Mitugo ya thayo, ngwatanĩro ya mũthingi wa Keshe, njama ya mũmũmwe, njama ya thĩ, na gĩkundi gĩa gatagatĩ ciothe nĩ irĩ na mũtugo wa kũrehe thayũ, na nĩguo ũyũ na njĩra nguhĩ, kunya no kunyũkie, tũkĩte gũtungatanĩra no ti gũtungatĩrwo. Thayũ na mĩtugo ya thayũ nĩ irĩ bata mũno harĩ ngwatanĩro icio ciothe twagweta. Tuonerwo kaingĩ atĩ ũngĩenda thayũ harĩrĩria mbara. Ũguo nĩ kwagĩrĩire hihi. Kũringana na ngwatanĩro icio cia mũthingi wa Keshe, tuoiga ũguo gũtiagĩrĩire, na kwoguo kũgarũrĩra mũtugo wa ugeta ũcio nĩguo kwagĩrĩire. Ikĩo ngwatanĩro icio cia mũthingi wa Keshe irarehe thayũ na njĩra ici: wendo, atĩ wendo gũtirĩ mũrango ũtangĩhingũra. Wendo nĩ ũninaga maũndũ marĩa mothe moru na ũkarehe marĩa mega. Ũiguithania, o ũrĩa andũ maiguithanĩtie marĩ aingĩ, ũrĩa mekwenda noguo ũhingaga na ihenya. Merirĩria, merirĩria maitũ nĩmo mawatho maitũ, ũrĩa mũndũ erirĩirie, angĩkorwo erirĩirie na muoyo wake wothe noguo ekuona. Na ũtana nĩ kũheana, o ũrĩa tũratanahĩra andũ angĩ tũtarĩ na mũthutũkano, noguo na ithuĩ tũgũtanahĩrwo. Merirĩria ma ngwatanĩro ciothe cia mũthingi wa Keshe nĩ kũheana na mĩena yothe, tũtarĩ na mũthutũkanio hĩndĩ ciothe ta riũa. Ũthimũri na ũũgĩ wa gĩkama, ngwatanĩro ya mũthingi wa Keshe nĩ ĩkũranĩtie ũthimũri, ĩyo nĩyo science, na ũũgĩ wa gĩkama, nĩyo technology, plasma technology, na thayũ. Ngwatanĩro ya mũthingi wa Keshe nĩ ĩrĩga gwĩkĩrithia maiguithanĩrio ma thayũ wa thĩ yothe irore, na maiguithanĩrio macio no moneke ũgereire haha njũga ĩno ĩ haha kĩanda ka mũhuro, no wone hau, wone thĩ ciothe nĩciĩkĩrĩte kĩrore. Rĩu ngwatanĩro ya mũthingi wa Keshe na njama ciayo nĩ irandĩka mĩtaratara ya kũharĩria bũrũri ĩmwe, bũrũri ũmwe na rũrĩrĩ rũmwe, nĩyo one planet, one nation, one race ya thayũ. Thank you very much. I have just given us brief summary in Gikuyu, and we now return to ethos of peace in English. And I would like others to discuss ethos of peace and how they can help bring about global peace through love, unity, wishing, giving, or in any other ways. I especially welcome other members of the various councils and teams, but other participants are also welcome. Thank you very much indeed. Those who are not panelists can go ahead and write in the chat. And please, Rick, I would appreciate very much if you could read.
Yes, we have one from before, actually, from Joss, that might be a relevant statement. He says, ethos of peace should consider to the ethics of the survival of all the dynamics. That was from Joss. Mark Erb says, war is not peace. Love is the first law.
And the panelists can also speak.
Yes, and there's okay. Well, Joss is also would like to speak. I said he's got his hand up. But is there any panelists that would like to speak at this point? Okay, well, I'll promote Joss to a panelist and see what he has to say. Hello, Joss, are you there? Can you hear him? Let me unmute you and then you can speak. Hello?
Yes, Greg, do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so my microphone is open.
Yes.
Okay, so this is about the means that we have to take to bring peace without any enforcing anything. I think Mr. Keshe has talked one time about sending in space, deep space, those who would be at war, you know. So it's such an incredible idea that I think we should consider very much to send these who want to abide to peace, to isolate them for a moment. I don't know, maybe the time it would take. If it is one day, it's one day, 1 week, and 1 week, and so forth. But when one is isolated, I think that he will understand how it is important to be together, to partake, to share our life, what we're doing in our life. And I don't know why it is so important to share with others. I have a little idea about it, but I would not like to talk about it right now. But I think this would be a solution to not to punish, but to isolate the person who want to head again for war. I don't know if few people will agree with me, but this is a very good idea from Mr. Keshe that I will promote.
So you're saying your idea to bring about global peace is to isolate certain people?
No, those who won't abide to peace, who will, do you understand what I mean? The recalcitrant, those who come.
Okay, well, we have on the page here how you can bring about global peace through love, unity, wishing, giving, or in other ways. And you're suggesting what, locking people up? Isolating them in what way? What would be a way of doing that that's in a loving, unity, wishing, giving, or other ways?
I think that we should isolate those in space alone for the time it takes that they realize that to be alone, isolated, is not so happy life than to be together in society. I don't know if you understand.
You mean send them off to space? Send off the people that are aggressive or want war and send them to space? Is that what you're saying, by themselves?
The aggressive one?
No. We don't send the aggressive people to space. That's not the way we do things, because there's no room for aggressiveness in space. That doesn't work.
Yeah, but if they are isolated, they won't be damaging others, but you isolate them in space with the means of maybe the McGrath technology.
No, that's not part really
their
of.
own position, you know.
So far
And
as I know, it's not part of the way that these that the Universal Council or the Earth Council or the core group works. We work to elevate others, not to encase others with by isolation necessarily.
how could we protect ourselves?
Rick, can I come
Well,
in?
it's a question. Go ahead.
Okay, just this is the thing. You don't have to go that far to make people peaceful. People who are not peaceful, they're just like drunk people. You know, when they're drunk, they don't know what they're doing. And then when they come to the realization, when the alcohol wears off of them, suddenly they say, oh my God, that I acted like that. That's how the situation of the man is on this on the earth. The non-peaceful man is just like a drunken man. If you
Right. What happens when you confront a drunken man and try to, maybe.
so what you have to do, you have to when somebody is not peaceful, you just have to give enough to them, like the way we give to the drunken man enough water to give them the water to give them the thirst away, so that way they become sober. So that's what you do. You just give enough to become peaceful. They're just like a drunken man. And that's how it is. But I have a question for all of you. Mr. Keshe talked about the soul and the giving and elevation. There was a discussion also last time you guys had that in terms of giving, like somebody who's in distress, and Mr. Keshe gave an example of old man you go save, and another man, because the energy has to go someplace, another man who had a family had to die. So in elevation also, Mr. Keshe discussed today that if a loved one, a brother, a sister, a husband, or a friend is in pain, and we can give from our soul without even doing anything, elevate the soul so the pain goes away. But the question is, in both situations, when do we know, are we interfering, or which are we allowed to go in and do it? Because sometimes these people have to learn from the pain they're going through. Are we allowed to go get rid of the pain by elevation? Am I interfering, or am I allowed? When can we do that? That's my question. For anybody can answer it.
Well, elevation may not necessarily mean removing pain for somebody that's in that position. It may
I
remove
think,
some of the pain, but
do you hear me?
yeah, go ahead. Hello.
I think that education is a part of the solution. And when you hear about what Mr. Keshe is teaching us, this is a real education. But the problem is that with people today is they are not educated to clear their words. When they studied, we are not sure they understand what you say, because you will ask them, you tell them a sentence with the word ethos, and if they don't know what is ethos, they could just decide by themselves that ethos means this or that, which is not at all the case. So the first thing you have to do is to educate people to clear their words before talking, or for in trying to understanding what we have, what we try to make them understand. And this should be included in the education system. And I don't want to promote Scientology, but in Scientology we start with the first course.
Excuse me, I have to stop you there. I have
Yes,
to stop you there.
yes,
We have no connection with Scientology. We set up a new course,
that's
and this
great.
needs to
That's
stop.
great. The Scientology is the most abusers in the world right now.
Not really. It's your line of thinking. It's not, and sorry, I do not agree with this in what shape or form whatsoever.
But
No. We're talking about different thing. You're talking about different thing.
yes.
Okay.
But,
Yes, you got to stop. No. You got to stop this line of talk. If you work, you've been part of Scientology, that's to be respected. That's your line. Do not bring these things into the work of the Keshe Foundation.
yeah, but we have to talk about solutions, Mr. Keshe.
Solution, that's not a solution. They never had a solution.
Let's say,
Scientologists never had a solution.
yeah.
And we know the mindset which goes with it. I don't agree with it. Please stop this line.
That's okay.
Thank you very much. Can we have any other contribution, please?
Yes, hello. It's Pete from Poland, member of the Universal Council Polish Language. To answer Azar's question, I think we can't help anybody until they are prepared to take. So my intake on this would be: we always offer love, we always give unconditionally, and then whenever the other party is prepared to take, they take as much as they want, as much as they need at a given point in time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the council who would like to say something? Even share their experiences through this process of elevating our souls in order to write a peaceful charter?
This is Moshfek speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mospek, go ahead, please.
I'm with the Universal Council representing Bengali language. One of the things Gatwa brought up at the beginning is that in order to achieve peace, we don't make war. In order to achieve peace, we make peace. And the guiding principles, and you lay down very beautifully, love, unity, wishing, and giving. And one of the ways these things may manifest is through our conduct. The conduct is an expression of our wish, the way we give, and the love. And it helps to bring the unity that we are trying to achieve. And we will achieve it. We become the example, as Mr. Keshe said. Through this, we become the shining light or example that people are drawn to because of the proper field. And so in a way, as opposed to misconduct, doing things that promote division, conduct brings unity. Unity for us to achieve the peace. So, and it is also becomes an example, a silent example for others to learn from. Some may do it slowly, some a little faster, but it propagates. People are drawn to it, and this becomes a mechanism through which peace can propagate locally and through the field universally. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mosfek. Are there any other responses, Rick, that you can read, or is there anybody else who wants to contribute? If not, I will be summarizing very soon. Rick, are there any responses in the chat?
I'm just trying to find some here. There's some comments, but I'm not sure if they're relevant or not.
Okay, I can go ahead and summarize. I talked about ethos of peace, the way I understand it, after learning from Mr. Keshe and being among the Universal Council. We discussed these things, but what I have presented here is my understanding. And ethos of peace, we have to change. We have to have a paradigm shift from thinking in terms of war. If you want peace, prepare for war, that has to go out of the window. If we want peace, we have to prepare for peace. And how do we do that? We prepare for peace through love. Love conquers everything. Through unity, we have a structure that unifies people based on the languages they speak. And why is this important? Because languages touch the souls of those who speak them. Also, languages unify people in that those who speak particular languages are not necessarily confined to a particular country or territory. Like those who speak Kikuyu, for example, are all over the world. So when I speak in their language, they understand, their souls are touched wherever they may be. And then through wishing, and we have learned from Mr. Keshe that our wishes are our commands. So when we wish for something, and especially when we are united in our wishing, we get stronger field strength, because even our thoughts and our wishes, for that matter, have magnetic gravitational field strength. So the more people wish the same for peace, the more easier it becomes to get peace. And through giving, giving is also loving. Through giving, the more we give, the more we receive, and the more we elevate our souls. And in elevating our souls, we also elevate other souls, including those of plants and animals, as we consider peace for all souls, for all entities that are created. So I also had a summary. I summarized what I went through in the Koyo, the language that I represent in the Universal Council, and then opened this discussion to others. And I appreciate very much all the contributions of other participants and members of the various councils. I thank you all very much indeed for your participation and for listening. Thank you. Thank you very much. Back to you, Rick.
Okay, does that complete this part? Is that what you're saying, Gatwa?
Yes, my part is completed, but if people wish to continue discussing, I have finished my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Keshe, would you like to come in now, or?
Yeah, no problem. It's just about, can we hear from the Earth Council members?
Hello, everyone. I am Rodrigo Virdosola, member of the Earth Council. I'm honored to speak to all of you about a few aspects of the charter we are working on for the Earth inhabitants, so that we can open a discussion here today of these subjects. It is important to all of us not only to understand the charter, but to participate in its creation. It is not a job for the Earth Council or United or Universal Council to create a charter. Think of us only as your tools to put it together. The ideas have to come from all the people of Earth. This is a time we were waiting for. It is hard to conceive that in this day and age, we still have wars going on our planet. We kill each other with guns. We kill and hurt each other with unkind words and hatred. We bombard each other with bad thoughts, as if no one can hear us. How do we get here? Throughout our history, people were always artificially divided by the powers to be, either through the color of their skin, or their beliefs, or their position in society. It is an accepted practice to kill in the name of God, just because someone else is practicing a different religion. All of it was done to distract us from the awareness of our own power. And as long as we stand divided, there will be no peace. We share this beautiful planet with other life forms, animal, plant, mineral kingdoms, the air around us, the water, the elements of the planet, the very earth we woke up on. All of them are our brothers and sisters on this beautiful blue-green planet. The humans have a dominion over all these life forms, not because we were better than them, but because we were gifted to speak and understand all of their languages. And therefore, be the humble voice and united all of us together. It is in working together with nature that humans find that inner peace with health, create harmony on Earth. There's a lot to discuss, but first, I would like to keep on one thing in mind. When bringing your ideas to the table, please form them in such manner that you say exactly what you want it to be, versus what it should not be. A good example of that is the 10 Commandments. One shall not kill. The creators of those commandments knew that a minute you say to people, do not do something, the people most likely will do the opposite, or at least try it. Therefore, there will be automatically create sinners who had to repent or to be punished. We don't want to go down that path. Let us just state exactly what we want to create on our lives. Now we're going to show some aspect that we're discussing between the Earth Council and Universal Council. If you allow me, Rick, to share the screen, please.
Okay, are you able to share there now, Rodrigo? Let's see.
Thank you so much. Yes, can you see it?
Yes. If you can make it full screen, it would be better.
Yes.
To see. Perfect. Thank you.
So this is one of the discussions we were presented by the Earth Council. So it's open to all of you to discuss it. It is time to alter humanity to move to a higher level of consciousness. And for all that, every individual should be more aware of his own role on this constantly evolving universe. Advancement for the future. It is time to be responsible for our actions, allowing a deeper connection to our souls and the elevation on our spirit. The future is in our hands, and each one of us is responsible not only for our own life and future, but also for the totality of the creation. It is the time to become part of the universal community, and for that, we'll have to be ready to prepare. It all starts from following basic steps of the truth about ourselves and the way the creation works. There must be a balance in everything, basically in giving and receiving. What we give out, it is what we give, but we receive in a stronger way. Let's be responsible for our actions, feelings, beliefs, and habits. The universe belongs to us, and we belong to the universe, So it's open to discuss to all of you. Any comments?
Hi, Rodrigo. It's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Rodrigo. I think that the most important
Yes,
aspect.
sorry, Lisa. Can you introduce yourself, who you are, please?
Oh, sorry. It's Lisa, and I'm the EC member for Australia. And yes, I think the most important part of this whole concept here is that the universe belongs to us and we belong to the universe. We are the totality and we are the creator, and each single one of us is that. And so we have to see our role and understand how we have to operate. If you do anything that isn't correct, you are harming yourself. And that is the big part of this that we haven't understood, that you can't do anything that isn't correct, because when you do, it always it takes away from the totality, and by taking away from the totality, you're harming yourself. And that's a big aspect of, I think, what we have to learn.
You want me to pass on the next one, Lisa?
Up to you, Rodrigo.
So any comments from all of you?
Well, there's several people with their hands up that I'll invite in if no one here from the councils wants to speak.
We'd love to hear from other people, please, Rick.
Okay.
As we said, this is the opportunity for the whole Earth to participate.
Okay, so there's Boniface, who should be a panelist there now. Go ahead, Boniface.
Thank you, Rick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. This is Boniface, a knowledge seeker from California. Greetings to everybody. And Dr. Gatwa's presentation, but I think it's applicable here too. if you don't mind me asking or making a comment. In his presentation, he made the statement, if you want peace, prepare for war, and suggested that if we want peace, we should prepare for peace. And so it struck me, and then he also gave us the ethos of peace. We're here to serve and not to be served. It begged the question, I guess, in my mind, do we even have a working definition for peace? I was trying to see if I remember seeing anything, throughout this work, and I couldn't recall, a statement to that effect. I think, I have an assumption of what peace is, and that's what I've heard everybody talk about, but I have not seen stated anywhere what our actual working definition of peace is, even though we have an ethos for peace, which we've stated. So I thought that was interesting, and maybe if somebody has that, they can share that. But
well, we do have the World Peace Treaty, which mentions that we agree to accept the lay down all tools of aggression and war. So that would be part of it. And shall never think about getting involved or incite war or develop or use any tools of war on this planet or in space. And to this we agree and swear and so on. So
okay, that's good. So
one
that peace
guidance about the aspect of war versus peace, but what you're talking about might be different in terms of defining peace, but not defining it in terms of war, perhaps.
Correct. So I thought that might be something worth looking into if we are, drawing up a charter. And I also have another question, since if it's okay. August 3rd, I recall Mr. Keshe requesting that to complete the process we began to send communication to the ambassadors and individuals we contacted before, and that the council was going to draw up this letter that we could send out. Well, it's September 7th right now, and I haven't seen any such letter. So have we given up on that idea, or what's the status of that? Those are just my comments. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say something about peace in terms of the soul aspect of it. And I think peace means something slightly different to every single one of us, maybe because it's an interpretation of your perception. But to my mind, peace maybe is allowing the soul to be in a place where it can give unconditionally, and it has the comfort to do so without anything impinging on the freedom to give where you would like to give and where you can give unconditionally. A bit like the positioning of the magnets.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. We have...
This is Moshfek. I would like to answer the second question about sending the letter. I know people have sent letters and they wrote their own because it's a short letter saying thank you or something along that line.
Excuse me, can you get a little closer to the microphone? It's hard to hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm responding to the second question, which is writing the letter. I know people have sent out letters and they wrote it in their own language, thanking the people that received the earlier letter and making them aware of where to find these peace treaties that has been signed. And so anybody can write a short letter, and I don't think it's necessary to have a format for it, or some sort of format letters that we all send same letter to everybody. So I think anybody can do it. It's just a simple process.
Okay, thank you. We've got a couple of more people here. There's Chad. Would you like to say something? Hello, Chad. See your microphone's open, not hearing you. Maybe you have to turn the mic on or something. I see the microphone is going up and down, but I'm not hearing anything, Chad. Okay, we'll see if you can figure out things that you're in there. Here's something now. Hello, Chad.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, everyone. Just a little trouble setting up my new system today. My comment, I have just a comment. Like, I think this is really great what is happening in discussing peace and trying to bring, as I see it, trying to all of us together, trying to bring peace to the planet, to the universe, from our planet moving outwards. And I mean, this is kind of basic, but it resonates with me, is that we each, it's been said, and it's been said tonight, like each one of us has to become more loving and forgiving of ourself and of others. As I see it, that's the main way to bring about peace on the planet, like through forgiveness of ourselves, each one of us forgiving ourselves for the aggression that we've created, maybe in thought or in action, depending on maybe our job or so on, and then forgiving others as we've forgiven ourselves, and that's what I wanted to contribute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Now we have
Can I come in, Rick? Please?
Jalal. Yes, I was just going to mention that name, and sure enough, he appears.
Good day, Rick. Good day, everybody. Good day, Mr. Keshe. There is one thing coming to my mind. You know, there is in Arabic land, there is a bride, they call them the Bedouin, who is living in the desert. These people, they take with them all their furniture, everything's, all kinds of animals, what they are using, all the time, everywhere. When there is grass, green grass, they go to it. So they are taking everything with them for every spot they go. And if I visualize what Mr. Keshe said, and when you give, you take more, and there is another frontier behind this earth and everything. If I said I am sitting here in a valley and there is a mountain, and come a beautiful soul like Mr. Keshe and said, look guys, behind this mountain there is a huge beautiful things. You didn't see it before. And what I will say, okay, I will go there, but this mountain need to be climbed. Okay, okay, I will climb it. But if I take all the things with me, all my furniture, all my animals, my cars, everything in my shoulder, how I gonna climb this mountain? So what I will do, I will give all these things away to climb. And even my in the end, even your clothes, you will give it up to climb this easier. So everything we have learned, this is burden on your shoulder. Your body is even burden on your shoulder. Whatever you have is my. It's you are like putting more kilos to your shoulder. How are you gonna climb? So what you will gonna do? You will say, "Can you take this one from me? Can you take this one from me?" But no one take, because all the people, they have the same thing, or maybe less or more. And then what you will do? You will wish that someone will take that burden from you, all this heavy what you took all these years to put it in your shoulder. Then you will wish, I wish someone come and help me and take this one from my shoulder, that I will be little bit lighter, that I can climb little bit more meters. So my friends, peace is that you give out what you have, but not all of them they will take from you. But what you will do, you will wish, and sincerely you will wish, that I or Rick or anyone else, that he will take from you something to make you a little bit lighter, that you can climb faster. So peace come with that. Peace come with that you give everything without, because behind this mountain, behind this frontier, there is more beautiful things you can do. When you come to the world, you are a small child. You don't have nothing. You only need this new burden, what you learned. It's enough. You learned. You have learned how pain is. You learned how love is. You all of that you are learning, and you can keep it in your brain, in your physicality, in your RNA. You are already registered, so you don't need all these things. This my car, my house, my tribe, my family, even, because it's like a soul. One soul, he cannot take so many with him, only if they are light like him. Mr. Cash, he can come down and say, okay, I can help you, I can pull you up, but he cannot pull 10,000 people with all this furniture and all this burden in their shoulder. He can pull 1, 2, 3. I can pull 1, 2, 3. Rick can pull me, can pull that one. If he is lighter, if he don't have all this furniture in his shoulder, it's the same thing. Give up, give all these things what you have, not in physicality, but what is in your mind. My country. Even sometimes I'm not satisfied with what I'm saying. I am from Iraq. That I'm something unique. I must be unique. No, I am from Earth. I am from this spaceship. If I go up there, I will say I'm coming from Earth. I will not say that I'm coming from Iraq. I am coming from America or Canada or something. I am presenting every human being here, every creature here, every entity. But okay, in meantime, to make people understand, to make people experience what we experience, how we came here. Okay, in the meantime, but I will not put it as a law. Only tool. Even your body is a tool to understand these feelings, these emotions, to put it inside your DNA, and from DNA to go to RNA, and then to elevate your soul. It's a beautiful thing to think in that way. But if, okay, I will help, I will give, but how you will give? What you will give? You will give. Can you give your arm in this moment? No, you will not, because this arm is yours. No one can take it from you. But if you think you cannot go from this hole because you have a little bit more, you are heavyweight, you little fat, what you will say? I wish that fat is not there. It's in your body. You want to be a little bit slim, 10 kilos of meat, of flesh. You will give it. Please take it. You will buy even everything to rid of this more kilos, because you have aim, you have seal. There is something you want to go. And why don't we put that in mind? So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jalal. Who else would like to go ahead? There's Alper. Alper, would you like to say something now?
Why not?
Those are the two big words that Mr. Keshe always uses when you ask him, what if we do this project and add this GAN to this and that and this, and why not?
I'm closing my mouth, and it's just so funny. As I was doing, as I was commenting and trying to understand the gentleman's words, it's all wonderful to. Isn't it like a self impression, and like to be able to cover everything, and it's just like it's a momentary, like we're in the moment now. We're trying to impress our environment, as we always do. It's in our nature to be able to attract and repel, and isn't it wonderful to be able to, like, I don't know how to properly put it in a place, but overall we're all an individual that we're inflicting and trying to understand as we're speaking. Speaking is so important, and so important in terms of your understanding. It is very difficult to talk here. That's what it is. It has to be understood. It's very delicate to be able to express your understanding, never mind about yourself. It's just the inside of you, you're giving out of it. You're just letting it go. Very delicate. Believe it, more than you think, as you're listening comfortably on your chair there, and like very, very relaxed, and taking it all in, and like wonderful. But giving is like a mirror effect. What the teachers are trying to, and the speakers, the people who are trying to share everything, just wanting to be a mirror, not trying to teach intensively and intensely, like very powerfully and forcefully, but giving out what information is going to hit me and reflect me towards myself to the others. This is like that's how I see it. I don't take it as a negative way in every word, but the information, even his name, I don't even remember the people who speaks here sometimes. I'm very sorry about that, but the information is in my brain, is being scratched, is more important than the person itself. Therefore, the person shouldn't really think after he told he didn't get any feedback or love or care. Doesn't matter. It's the totality of the whole maybe last 5 or 10 or maybe 20 hours of the totality of the teaching has come to a point where it is actually teaching to people. Not, I mean, I don't mean it by my words, but Mr. Keshe's understanding would come to a conclusion after all those teachings, just by understanding. So talking here is very significant. Sir, thank you so much for letting me speak. It's very special. I was having a difficult time to be able to how I would be expressing myself correctly in terms of my understanding, not with the attitude or any other aspects, worldly aspects, but just giving the understanding. How can I be a mirror to be able to reflect all your understanding towards you with my support? That is what is happening here. I'm not teaching actually. We're not teaching. Even Mr. Keshe is just repeating himself. He's been repeating himself forever, and therefore people see themselves within those words. That is the mirror effect. Therefore, they find themselves within this knowledge exist. This is, and that's just the beginning with my understanding, and wonderful. I think it's beautiful, really more than beautiful to be able to express every detail, every person's effort in it. Mr. Riggs, everyone's effort is so delicate. It represents not the way you look at it. It represents in terms of knowledge, energy. Effort is energy, and it's information that is being reflecting towards us. Every effort means in this time, what we're experiencing means information for our benefit. We really have to get it right. That's what I think. Our responsibility, kind responsibility. Even though I come to terms in very powerful words, but it's all very kind. Honestly, information is in itself, in its own reality. I'm not talking about our words. While after you spend those words, it goes through. That's a kind post you send. It's just within its containment. No matter what the information is, what is going there is a very kind interaction. We're all very kind people, really, in the end.
Okay, Alper.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's probably good for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Can I come into a comment in regarding what we're setting up the Charter for Peace, and what we part of understanding of it is to give freely, that we elevate the soul of the others. I think the good example of this is the way the foundation has set up from the beginning. We share knowledge unconditionally. Sharing knowledge is sharing peace. Sharing knowledge is sharing love. And I think the ethos, the way all of us around the foundation have worked, has set the example for this. By you got to look at the background of the knowledge, background of the behavior, background of the outcome, and the background of the outset of the whole thing. When from the beginning we shared the knowledge freely, we did not give the opportunity to the others to steal, to get the knowledge. So we already prevented a crime to happen, a misconduct to happen, that because you stole, you have to do whatever with it, or whatever you could hide from it. The ethos of the foundation is an ethos of peace, by its behavior, by its conduct, by its action. And this is what a lot of people have not understood. We don't talk about becoming a peaceful and giving freely, that it'll let others to elevate their souls, that they find peace. We live by this ethos from the day we set out. We never pushed one thing or another. We gave freely, we taught freely, 188 teachings, unconditionally. The edge of knowledge. Every one of us discovered something, came and shared. This is always been the pattern of the people who set an organization up or any structure. The people who fit into that structure follow the same mindset. And this has become our mindset. The structure of the foundation is giving unconditionally, which is loving. When you give knowledge unconditionally, you inspire the other souls. When you share knowledge unconditionally, it's a way of giving, it's loving. When you love your child, you share all your knowledge with him, that in the future he might benefit by it. He might find salvation in it. And this is what we've done. If you look at the whole, thank you very much. Thank you, Joey. The whole structure is set that way. It's not preaching, but it's the way the foundation work has been. It's a loving, peaceful foundation. The work of all of us. Some of us can express our feelings, some of us can express our knowledge, some of us can express our work, but we've seen over years, people come in and conditionally give the edge of science, whatever discovered, that they could be benefit to somebody else. Somebody's microphone is open in the background. So we have to come to understand. We have to see that the work we set up from the beginning has been unconditional love, unconditional sharing of knowledge, opening the patent application forms, giving the knowledge freely, the books freely to the nations who could not afford, allowing the people who cannot afford have the free teaching. This is all part of not a talk, but it's the way for us in the foundation, it's a way of living, unconditional giving. Unconditionally we share, and millions of us unconditionally teach the others or does something for it. This is how it will be, because not only me, but us as people around the foundation, we don't talk about it. But we do it naturally. To us, it's natural to find something and come and share straight away. We've done this, go back over all the teachings. And those who wanted to stop the sharing have created all sorts of problems for themselves, not for us. This is the way it will be going. This is the way when we speak about peace, we do not allow others to commit a crime to get access to the knowledge, but because it's knowledge freely, when they learn, they share. It brings them peace, and then they share that peace with others. So we have set up the example for a peaceful organization, for a peaceful foundation, for a peaceful work. And all of you, in all our work, we say the word love means give unconditionally. And this has been the work of the Keshe Foundation. We have given unconditionally. And because of that, we touch the soul of those who are or receive it. We all are in that position. We are all in that condition. We are all in that path of sharing unconditionally. So the foundation has set example for how not to allowing others to commit what we call a wrongdoing by trying to steal. By making it freely available, they added more to the knowledge. This is what I say, you give unconditionally to elevate the others, and then by them elevating, they bring more out. Look how the foundation works. I teach freely, I have taught freely from when we set up the foundation in 2004, 2005 onset. If I would have kept the knowledge to myself without teaching publicly the way we done, I would have done a few pieces there, a few pieces there. But now look across the internet, look how many thousands, millions of people are doing it, they've done it, they're testing it, they're seeing the results of it and the rest of it. And they bring the knowledge back in different shape or form, as products, as research value, as new understanding. And you've seen it's grown and it's growing in huge dimensions. And at the same time, you have to understand that is not hit the public media. Through the work of the foundation, people said many times, I just pressed something and it came Keshe Foundation. I don't know how I got it, but it just came. Because it's the soul has already reached the soul, the physicality puts it for it to be seen. How many of you have been looking for something and out of nowhere on your screen you found Keshe Foundation? Because your intention of the soul was correct, you wanted the knowledge, and it was there, your physicality delivered for your eyes to see. These are not coincidences. This is what the mindset, the structure of the foundation is. We have set up a peaceful organization through science. Go back in all our work, knowledge in exchange for peace. Free energy in exchange for peace. Because in a way we already become a peaceful organization. We are heading a massive peaceful organization, and the world leaders are listening to what we set up. And this is why we are taking notice of. The foundation runs in tens of millions. As we've been told, in China alone, there are 25,000 links on the Keshe Foundation, or Keshe technology, or use of the Keshe plasma technology, in one nation. You got to realize that we don't talk about peace. We have, by sharing and giving freely the knowledge, have brought peace to the soul of many. And that will bring itself world peace in another dimensions and directions. So when you write about the ethos and how the humanity has to move, we have already moved that path. We have already shared the knowledge. You were online a couple of weeks ago when we had from Africa that they wanted to get access book. Our team freely downloaded all the PDFs into university for it to be printed, as many as possible, freely, unconditionally. We don't think about it twice what's going to happen, because now the scientists in that university, scientists in that country, and then the others which are in touch with, have received the knowledge. This is not philanthropist organization. This is organization which understands how peace can be. When you don't steal to get to the knowledge, then you don't need to do other crimes to hide it, because you received it freely, openly. You share the knowledge from what you know, add it to it, and then somebody else adds to the knowledge you receive. This is the way we have set the course. A politician was recently, I was talking to, he said, you know, Mr. Keshe, to me, I don't look for world peace. Keshe Foundation is the peace. Because everything in it is what mankind is looking for to find peace. It's now for us to look into what we can develop and learn from it and deliver from it. We put a dove as a sign of peace. Within a short time to come, KF means when you see the sign, it means a peaceful organization. It's time for peace. This is how we have to understand the change. So the ethos is sharing. The ethos we have shared. The ethos is, would you share for what you receive freely? This is the consequence, and this is the charter for humanity. Unconditional teaching, unconditional love, which in turn itself teaches the others to do. Nobody needs to kill for accessing patterns of the Keshe Foundation or the knowledge. It's freely there. And this is something which all of us has to encourage. That one of the conditions we teach you freely is that you teach freely too, not to withhold back. The elevation of the soul comes by removing the filters on it, because the soul is the sun, it always shines the same. It's us which puts the filter of blue, green, yellow, crime, whatever, stealing on it. By removing these filters, we'll find we receive the totality of the light, the totality of the energy from the source. And this is what we call peace. Peace, finding peace, being part of peace is the problem for humanity, because he has not seen nothing but war and killing. In space there is no such a word exist, because long time ago we solved this problem. Those who became unconditional to condition to the peace, we found the solution for. The same is for humanity. The knowledge of the man has reached that level that sooner or later it breaks into space. But it's better to bring the man into a space as a peaceful being than becoming a food for man. It becomes exactly like Wild West, or when man went to Africa hunting for new animals. There is no hunting in this space, because you can have whatever you like. And the sooner the man learns, the easier it becomes for the transition into the peaceful structure of the society, planet, and then universal community. The structure of ethos of the charter should be peace, and peace should be explained as loving, as giving unconditionally. Because when you receive unconditionally, you don't need to fight for it, because it's there as you need it. This is where we need, we understand, and we comprehend. And the more and more people get touched by the technology, the more we see the diversion. We see diversion from wars, we see diversions from all sorts of things, because it is unconditional. It's unconditional love, which is give everything. As I see fit, I teach, because then you understand that you can use it. It's the same with others. Initially we saw a lot of people coming in and delivering a lot of knowledge. And then we saw a subsidence, because those who are the enemies or of the peace themselves start making all sorts of problems with themselves and the others. But at the end we prevail. We have gone through, the foundation has found a way to reach in so many ways, new heights in sharing, new heights in understanding what is needed by human race to be a peaceful being. We have to understand that is us who needs to teach to ourselves to become peaceful, and through it we'll find whoever wants to find a place to fight has no one to fight with. By us becoming peaceful, we bring peace to others, because in that way we find a solution. This is what we've seen in very recent past with the behavior of Chinese government. Setting up to go, set up to go, enhanced and enticed other nations to go in war with China. They just walk away from it. They show we can earn more with more work, with more investment, with more bringing wealth to the nation, and the opposition just melts away. This is how we find so much common ground with the Chinese, because they share what they have, and at the same time, because of it, they receive more enlightenment, more ways of sharing peace. This is part of the structure which we have to, as human race, to follow. Find peace with ourselves, find peace within ourselves, find peace in all the structures, but not fighting. Gun policy is gone, is finished. In the house, we have to find a solution. Where is the problem that there is no peace? And then find out who is causing the peace, how much of it is the reality, and was there anything to start it, or is for someone just to prove they exist? By elevating, by giving through the soul, but not by giving through the pocket to buy peace, you'll find out the soul access works much easier, because then there is no need for the pocket. We can, and the way we set up, this is the way the foundation is set up, with unconditional love. In science, we have put unconditional love with the soul, and we see the benefit of it. We see the changes of it. You got to realize, a lot of people say, where is it, what happened? It's taken 2000 years to bring Christianity where it is. It took decades and decades to even reach the first million. The foundation, in less than a few years, is past tens of millions. But now it's time to share more, to understand the purpose of why we share the knowledge. There is no preaching, it's enlightening. The more you give the people the freedom, the more they get enlightened, the more they leave the correct path, because they don't need to do anything. As I've said many times, I have a lot of patience. And in that patience, I find a lot of solace, a lot of peace. And where it is, to me, and to those who follow my work, sharing knowledge has to be sacrosanct, unconditionally. Because with it, we find peace with ourselves. And then the others do the same. And then too many others become all one. We have to find a way for the human race to write the Charter of Peace. Not trying to explain peace. When you have to explain how to achieve peace, you have already failed, because you have considered the path of war. In so many ways, when we talk about creating condition for peace, is unconditional love, unconditional giving. Some people misread, some people abuse, but mankind will realize very soon that the tide for peace has become so strong that the humanity has no choice but to accept. By sharing knowledge, by financial restrictions which are causing people not to be able to, but whatsoever, the path to peace is becoming like a funnel with one hole, and all that liquid will go through it. What we need is to share knowledge, to spread the knowledge. And when you spread it, tell them one thing, it's a gift free. Use it for peaceful application. The soul of the man has access to all the souls of the universe. It's for man to find out how he wants to challenge and channel it to the direction where he wants to go. We all know how and where and the way our soul works. I heard last week somebody asked Ahmed, and I heard from the other communications, what is the position of the soul? Where can I find my soul? My wish is my command. If you wish and you have achieved your wish, it means you have found your soul. If one wishes and then one sees the result of the wish, then you have found your soul. This is the position of your soul. Your wish is the command for your soul to deliver what was your wish. And then what we have learned, because of the lack of trust in ourselves, I thought of this, but it happened, as I said earlier on. This way of thinking has to change. The way we consider has to change. Not that I thought and it happened, but it's my wish and it's my power for it to happen the good way, the way it's supposed to. My wish is peace, but because I wish, the others who are of the same school of thought receive, and becomes their wish and many others, so we achieve. It's not coincidental. As I said many times, my wish is my command. And then the only way you see your wish comes is when your command, which was the peaceful, wishful thinking, has manifested itself. And where up to now you always said, oh, it just happened, I thought of it. But lack of confidence has never allowed you to say it was my wish and it's achieved. We see this, we've seen this in the past with the members of the court team. The work we did around the court team. Members of the Earth Council gradually have to come to understand that it's within their command. Members of the Universal Council, you've chosen your soul to serve the language, which is the path to your soul, and many others. You have to listen to those who choose and have the path of the language to use their soul through you, that you represent the whole. And they understand through their soul you speak their language. The man who speaks Armenian in Armenia and the man who speaks Armenian in Australia should have access to the Universal Council member soul. Does not matter where they are positioned. The time of physical transfer of verbal noises and pens is over. This is how man has come, and this is how man has to start trusting in himself. This trust has been taken away from man through the weaknesses of unbelief and in different names and religions. Now that we understand, it's time to strengthen, it's time to understand and develop, and understand that we are the cause of peace. We are the cause of the change because it's our wish. The 2 points that I've said before, not knowing what the soul of the man is the center of the creation of the man, and the man trusts in his soul to be correct, has been abused in the past. And now that you are knowledgeable, you understand, you don't need to be abused. You won't allow the abuse because it has to be correct to me. If it's correct to me that I serve and I give unconditionally, then I have no problem. Let them do whatever they like with it. Even they want to use it the wrong way, it'll turn out to be the right way. I made man in the image of myself, which is the soul of the man in image manifested the man. But you have to go one step further. I made the soul in the image of myself, which means the soul of the man is the image of the soul of the Creator. How can such a perfect being do wrong? This is what you have to understand. In the teaching of last week and the before, I explained that your image, your soul, in what has manifested you as his physicality, applies the same in the dimension of the Creator. Where the soul of the Creator in dimension, in transformation, leads to creation of the physicality of the souls. So, the soul of the man is the image of the soul of the Creator, and in dimension of physicality, in the strength of the soul. And then when it dimensionalizes to matter state or visual state, become the body of the man. So there is no fault with the physicality of the Creator, even though the filters might cause it to be look like. Every one of us is part of the Creator. Every one of us is perfect in attribution of the Creator. It's us who has decided to put something in between the soul and manifestation of physicality. If the soul of the Creator is so perfect that he has created such a perfect soul as the soul of the man, it's for man to follow that the physicality does not fail. Then we understand how peace and peacefulness exist across the universe, because of the beauty of the fields, the strength, and understanding of the work of the creation. Why do we need to create defense technology for a space for the people we have never seen? Where we create systems that when we come across, we greet, we give unconditionally. A man who gives is the strong one. The man who fights is the weak man, because then he has to have something that he can eat slightly further out than himself. Because the man who's correct embraces. And this is what has not understood by most of the humanity for past thousands of years. We see that change in one nation, and we embrace that nation. Because they understand the change. It's got to be understood in a very simple way. And the faster the human race understands, the faster we walk away from this path of destruction in any shape or form. How can such a beautiful, perfect soul of the Creator, which creates such a beautiful soul of the man become a wrong man. Unless the man has chosen himself. Which means by elevating the man's physical understanding of the work of his soul, it brings man in the path of correct conduct. As I always say, if I give it to you, is my prerogative. This is what I want to give, that by receiving, you have something you didn't have. But if you put your hand in my pocket to take what I was going to give to you, that is you deprived from the pleasure of me giving it with my soul, because you only received the physicality. When a father gives anything to his son, it's not the physical, it's the love which has gone through the soul that the child feels. The love too is not physically receiving. Then the physicality of the entity is irrelevant, because the soul of the son has elevated by knowing that he received the love of the father, which is unconditional, that he learns in the future he will do it automatically with his children and the others, because the physical thing has no relevance. In time will not be there, but the impression of the receiving, the emotion of the love from the father will always touch. How many of you have been in that position? That you don't remember even what was given, but you remember the emotion of the love, the receiving of it, the pleasure of it, which touched your soul. The sooner the man walks in that path, the sooner we even will not teach history, because we made so much mistake, but in a way because of it we are where we are, that we don't want to talk about the mistakes of the past. Because of it we are where we are in a peaceful way. The progress in the development of the peace comes to elevation through the elevation of the soul of the man. As I've said before in the teachings. The lamb and the lion. The Adam and the Eve. Adam is the soul of the man. The Eve is the physicality of the planet. And the transformation between the energies of the soul and manifestation of the physicality of the planet has led to the structure of the physicality of the man, which in trying to fit the two, steals from the other and kills from the other, to be able to keep and sustain the connection between the two. The sooner we understand this, the sooner we'll bring peace on this planet. Because we will bring the condition that the physicality of the weaker strength in transformation, in receiving from the higher, which is the soul of the man, does not create a conflict of stealing and peace. We have to mature to see the totality, and then we'll see the same. Why does an animal kill? The soul is strong, the planet is weak. In conversion from one to another, the entity of something in between becomes the target of the two, to hold on the two sides, to both sides, the soul and the planet. Once we understand this and we eliminate the use to kill, to create and keep the energy between the two, we can do it from the environment of the universe. Then there shall be no killing. Then there is peace. Remember, I am the Messiah. I am the Messiah of my soul and no one else. Because if I understand that there is no deviation from my soul to my physicality, then I don't need no one to tell me what to do. I have salvaged my own soul. So I am the Messiah. Every single one of us are Messiah. Our own soul come in connection with our physicality. And then when we find that, then we find peace. And then with us having no interference in between, will create the same condition as the others, because then they interact with us in every level according to. We have to understand the operation of our work of our own life. Then we can teach it. Then we can elevate the others. In the last week teaching, Arman was trying to explain something and not many people understood. As I've explained many times before, I do not need to carry anything with me when I understand how to make the filters that my soul, through the emotion of filter, gives to my physicality what it needs, that the physicality cannot do anything wrong. Water, shelter, food, anything else. If I can raise my hand out and give and create the energy which I need to have the joy of an apple, I will receive an apple in my hand. When you speak about Adam and Eve, and when Adam took the apple from the Eve, that apple is the emotion of the man. And the faster we understand this, the faster you understand that apple is the filter of crime to the soul of the man, then we will commit no crime. Then it will be a perfect soul. That apple becomes the apple of love, which means from the beginning to the end. This is what we have to understand, and this is the sooner we understand, we control the fields of our soul to create, manifest the condition which is perfect, not for us, but those who receive the field from us, then we have achieved the essence of the creation, which is peaceful. Which is, when you have what you need, you do not need to do anything wrong. The soul of the man is the reflection of the soul of the creator. So has to be the physicality of the man. And this point, then you find peace. This point, this is when you don't find division, but you find friendship and coalition. Now write the charter for peace. Now write the book of peace for man. Now write the book of man, the ethos of the man. You'll find out all the sentences will become syllables and singularity of words. Because the word "thou shalt not steal" does not exist, because you're a giver, you don't need to steal. "Thou shalt not commit adultery." It's not the physicality, is by through the understanding of the emotion. When you're satisfied, it doesn't exist. These are all the attributes of the physicality which has caused so much problem for man. And now we understand. And now we can progress to the next step. And there is so many of us that is getting elevated, that by natural process, in one who understands the ethos of the Keshe Foundation in Southern South America, and the one which is sitting in Australia, and the one who's sitting in China, and the one who's sitting in Europe, because you all work on the same ethos, understood the work of the soul, any soul in between gets elevated by the field which is crossing between you lot. In these teachings today, how many from different nations are across with us? 50, 60, 100 nations? By the time you listen to these teachings, most probably in every nation on this planet, anyone who listens and works through the Keshe Foundation aspect, my soul has reached your soul. And anything in between. You are the post to receive. And in between, the others receive too. This has been the secret why we taught this way. I reach you without even you know you've been reached, but it was your desire to be reached to elevate your soul. And as we've seen, when a soul, a field of a magnet moves to other, it doesn't jump. It has a path to follow, and everything in between it touches. So when many of you listen and do the experiment, or listen and understand, and the knowledge touches your soul, in that process, from here to your point, from my soul to your soul, you have touched the others and elevated. This is how the condition has changed. This is how we achieve peace. Slowly, slowly, everyone in the path will be touched. And this is how it's not anymore sharing knowledge, it's sharing the ethos of the soul, which is a peaceful. And in you accepting to be of the same, you have created the line. Birds with birds, wolves with wolves. I have no wolf in me, but plenty of bird of love. And you receive it. And that bird, when it flies from one point to another, there are many people watching it fly, and they get touched by its beauty. And in that beauty, they elevate their soul, because it enlightens them. There is no need for reactors and star formations. The star of love is within the soul of the man. It's him who has to found this power, not to wait to see its effect. We don't preach, we enlighten. And this is the beauty of the Keshe Foundation. We touch the soul of the man through any shape or form. I work relentlessly to achieve peace. Most probably in the past 2-3 months, I traveled more than covers the whole circumference of this planet, to meet, to discuss, to be able to put the technology across, to be able to speak to the men who have condition of peace. They can create that condition, and this will not stop. I've heard in recent communications and some teaching, Mr. Keshe is so tired, it's not there anymore. Mr. Keshe wakes up 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock at night, to be in the teachings or in the meetings. I wake up to be present. I'm not there to be tired. I work relentlessly to achieve peace, by sharing knowledge, by enlightening, and by teaching my way to myself. And what I teach myself in what reaches you through the enlightenment. I work relentlessly, and I work day and night. But to me, there is not much time. Life of a man is too short. This is the process. This is how it should be. This is when you know what you do is correct, you can achieve it, you work hard for it. You give from your soul. And this is the way I operate. And many of the Keshe Foundation followers do the same. Because we have set an example, unconditional love through knowledge. Is in one part of the Keshe Foundation website. This is Keshe Foundation, where no knowledge reaches the soul of the man, or works with the soul of the man, or through the soul of the man. As I was beginning, we are here to serve, not to be served. Which means we give unconditionally through the knowledge, and those who follow my work has to do the same. The minute you stand still to count is the time you failed. It means back to board. To come to the time I don't count, because what I need comes to me. Be it the enlightenment of my soul, be it food on the table. We have to learn a new ethos, and that ethos of peace means unconditional giving and love and understanding. The minute we do value it, is the time we fail. We're back to the board again. So when you write the ethos of peace, understand and listen to this teaching of this morning. I told you a lot, if you understand it. In the last teaching of last Thursday, the first half an hour, I sat in airport lounge to teach as I was traveling from one nation to another. For me to be present in this teaching is ultimate, has to be done, because there is not enough time, because there's too much to share. I teach anywhere. Most of you don't even haven't got a clue the time and the places I get up or I sit or I make sure I'm there to be in teachings. We don't announce anymore because it doesn't need anymore. Those who take note, they know where we are. The whole team of Keshe Foundation travels across the world, continuously doing what they have to do. In the past few months, we spent more time on planes traveling to teach, to aspire, to work, to negotiate with different organizations and governments than we sleep in our own bed. Because we believe in one thing, the time has come for the change. We have the knowledge, we have the technology, and we have the ethos and commitment to peace. And the only way is new knowledge, new science, new clothes for mankind, the clothes of peace. The new path of belief, of peace, can be done and can be achieved because we can deliver. We don't need to make any more announcements where we're going to be or what's going to be, because we got to the point that the time has come that we need to reach as many people as possible. Workshops, teachings, knowledge seekers, universities, all are taking shape themselves. None of you write to us to say, I'm going to present this. You are doing it themselves because you received, you've been touched with the beauty of the knowledge. And that brings with self peace.
Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
Good day, Mr. Keshe. Jalal here. Can I ask you something, please?
Please.
Yesterday in the plasma reactor group, one guy, he bring an issue for Iraq, because Iraq have a special contamination, biological, chemical, and nucleus. What can we do in this situation? And I think you brought in your teaching about these conditions.
He was especially talking about the depleted uranium.
The depleted uranium heads, which were used by the American forces to penetrate military hardware.
Yeah, the bunkers.
Yes, we are fully aware of this. It's for the American government to negotiate with the Keshe Foundation. It's for Iraqis. Let me explain to you something very clearly. These materials are used and left for people long-term damage. The process of decontamination from depleted uranium and plutonium and the others, it should be very easy for the Keshe Foundation followers. I should be in Middle East in next 2-3 months. Iraq, we are working through our organization in Baghdad. One of our directors was in Iraq last week. We understand the work in that nation. We understand the contamination it's not in Iraq only. 50% of the waters in Rome are nuclear contaminated. That's a governmental statistic. 50%. This is Italian government statistics. Through misconduct or mismanagement of certain materials. The same thing, the contaminations runs across. We have lakes in Kazakhstan which are nuclear radioactive because nobody considered the time of the Russian time. What are we going to do with the waste was dumped in a lake? One day we'll find a solution. The overall condition and solution will come through the new collaboration between Keshe Foundation and one of the major governments. It's our priority, is set for us, and we deliver. You need to understand how to deplete. You need to understand how to link up energies. You cannot destroy, but you can facilitate. Nuclear weapon, nuclear warheads, nuclear or chemical weapons or whatever which has been used in the past, there is a solution for it. And it can be done. We have shown it can be done. It's just finding a way to organize, to be able to rationalize, not to destroy or trying to bury. These nuclear warheads, plutonium depleted, used in bunkers or whatever by the Americans, will have a worse effect, and we see the worst effects on the American soldiers. Many of them are coming back with mental problems. Many of them who fired these things have received the first dosage themselves. Many of them who watched it, I had a philosophy and I still believe in it. If you see the light of a nuclear bomb, or you feel the wave of it, my advice to you is to walk towards it, not to run away from it. Because if the wave or the light has touched you, you already received it. It's a long life of misery. Or you can walk into it and salvage it in a different way, which brings to an end much faster the physical pain. The same is when the Americans use these depleted, or during the Saddam Hussein, your time, they deployed these nuclear or biochemicals. Those who did have already received themselves the first dosages of it, long gone or will go. The depletion comes by cleaning up, comes by understanding the gas technology. You have everything. This morning, before I leave home, I had the documents of Fukushima in my hand because of the situation we have in another condition. And it's very clear. Go back to our dearest friend Yukoko when she went to Tokyo. The measurements are there. It's done by us, it's not by outsiders, by the governmental instruments. Chemical side effects, chemical material which is used, there is a solution for all of them through the right mixture of gas water. You will not destroy it. The scientists will measure and say, look, the chemical is still there, but tell them, is the side effect there? We saw that with the situation when we was called that it's just the water and nothing else. And very simply we said, have you tested the water for alkalineness? And we saw how the opposition and ridicule died with those who created it. Because it's not the ordinary water. You have to understand, with the new technology, you reach a new dimension, which is the field not a matter state. You have a radiation contamination. You have a chemical contamination. Understand the process and then contain it with the fields of the gas. You don't destroy. You link up all the energies to a new source, which means the matter is there. You will see it when you test it, but the effects are not there. This is the beauty of the new technology. And the sooner the world of science understand this, the sooner we move on to the next step. They say, no, the material, chemical, blah, blah is still there. Yes. In the new plasma technology, we don't destroy. We link up with the fields to contain. Very recently, let me ask, is John in the background by any chance? Can you see John Bevan from Arizona Research Center? Rick?
Just looking there now, Mr. Keshe. There's some other Johns, but not John Bliven. I don't see him in the list right now, unless he's listening with somebody else's name.
In Arizona, they've done a new test, and it's very interesting. I'm going to share with you the screen, because if John was there, he could have shared with us the video. I have it somewhere for me. To find it takes time. What has happened in the test, as you know, the Arizona has become the research center for space technology for Keshe Foundation, is that they've done a test. They've run 3 reactors with the star formation on the top. They have this buzzer, I call it, which goes beep, 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 showing the field, magnetic field. And what they've done in this test is amazing, is that the beam makes buzzing noise everywhere. But the strangest point is that when the buzzer comes in the center, there is no noise. To you or to me, explaining it, if you understand, is fields at this point are neutralized, even though they're still radiated. So is if you have a plutonium or uranium or whatever in the vicinity, in the structure, then in a way you don't destroy it, but still exists, but the fields contain it. And this is what is not understood by the new world of science, which is in front of the old man of science. And this is how this is how you clean up these messes. We cannot destroy. This is the old habit, to convert it to something else. We allow it to be, but we contain its fields that it has no effect. So in Iraq or any part of the world, you can contain all the chemical and nuclear damages. Still there. You have to explain this to the scientists who test it. But its effect is not there, because to something to have an effect on you, it doesn't come and hang on to you. With a new understanding of technology, it creates a field connection to you, that with it you hold on to the connection. This is how you poison yourself. This is how you radiate yourself. Now that if you can provide another source which is stronger than the radiation or the field from the poison, links up to that, it hasn't got enough strength to link to you. So you still see it, but has no effect. And this is the way it works. It's the way it does in agriculture. The way when you water the plant is not a CO2 water which goes to the plant root and the plant takes it. No way. It's the field which the GANS water creates around the plant which changes the condition of the growth for the plant. If you use a CH3 and CO2 mixture to grow plants, it's, oh, this is a magic thing. It works. It means you haven't understood. You have the carbon, you have the hydrogen, and you have the oxygen chain of amino acid. Now you have created a dome that, because of the three elements being available, attracts the nitrogen to create the protein to sit on the leaves and a new environment, new condition, new food. This is why you see these. This is why you see huge growth. This is why you see new environment. I have committed the Keshe Foundation to change the condition in one of the deserts around the world in a very soon, in a very, very recent time you will see. Because I explained to the scientists that and then the scientists understand the totality. This is what we need to understand. We need to be able to see the totality. This is part of the teaching, this is part of the enlightenment. That when you work with the ganses, do not look that I put something in there, I gave him CO2. Look at the fields. In recent past, I was with in the lab with people who make Keshe Foundation goods, and they showed me patches. Oh, we're making patches and we're selling patches, very good. I asked and I explained to them, you cannot sell one single patch. When you sell a patch, you have to sell 2 patches. When you make the patches, you have to understand this. One, to have 2 times more GANS liquid than the other one. If you have a single patch and you put on, okay, it has some fields, no problem. The fields reaches this depth. We know this from the test done for certification of the patches of the Keshe Foundation, the belts and the other thing. But now when you use the what I call the double patch, one in the front and back, as this tries to reach this, and the field from this trying to reach this, wherever the pain is depleted. Pain is energy. And now you see the effectiveness. When you take or you drink liquid GANS and then you have something problem somewhere, the liquid GANS goes through you like this. The penetration is here. But if you manage to put where the pain is or where the problem is a patch too, but the ratio difference, you'll find out the effectiveness. One weaker and the stronger trying to feed each other, creating a link because of the same. Whatever is in between, which is everything, the pain is magnetic field, gravitational magnetic field entity. It's not something just that. And then you find out, as the field depletes, the pain is gone. Because you transfer the energy. And when the energy transferred in a smaller or bigger, is confined and it finds a way to absorb. Why do you use a CO2? Because link of magnetic field connection allows the depletion of the energy of what you call pain. Finito. This is the knowledge. This is the science. Try to understand the principle. Try, because when you understand it, it's not, I have a leukemia, how am I going to help leukemia? Understand the reason for leukemia. How I have a cartilage damage. Understand what it is, how you can do it. If you, as I said, if this is your body and you leave the whole thing here and then you just put a patch on the other side, hoping that it'll reach, yes, it will reach, but to what extent? But if you put another patch on the other side, you already have dictated the path. Whatever is in there, you'll confine, it'll change. Try to go through the process. It's not anymore a tablet which goes in the stomach and then has a chemical reaction. This is a field transfer across. And then change it to agriculture, change it to medicine, change it to food, change it to anything you want to name it. You find the strength of it which is there, then you will see that.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. This is Klaus
Yes.
too from Austria.
It's who? Oh, it's Klaus.
Klaus.
Hi,
Yes.
Klaus number 2.
Hello. For the radioactivity, you know, we have built 2 points, northern Italy and in Austria, and we went in 2 weeks to the Greek island of Crete to install a 3rd point. And what we see is the possibility from the water and the soil for transmutation these elements. And I think it would be a great solution, and we give this to Liz and Jimmy for the next workshop they prepared in October. Then we can make a little blueprint to install some points all over the world, and we see it works very well.
Can you repeat and explain in depth, please?
Okay. At first, we installed 1.5 years ago in Austria, the northern part, a point only with zinc and CO2 liquid plasma on special points on the Earth, special magnetic points on the Earth. And we have access to some data from the government, and we see that it shines so that the radioactivity would be integrated in the water and the soil. And last year we installed the point near Venice in northern Italy, and we see how these 2 points in Austria and in northern Italy work together. And now we want to install the next 2 weeks a point in Greece, on the island of Crete. Yeah. And then we have to measure in Austria all the sensors would be available to show the radioactivity. We have 360 sensors in Austria, and we can measure this. And when the
So does it mean that you're going to transfer or measure all the energies at different points and see the reduction?
Yes. And that we have to look for how deep goes the radioactivity. And when the data are correct, then we can make some points all over the world to integrate integration points for radioactivity.
So we can measure the changes through the same?
We hope so. I have the data, and we have to look at the data. Some much information, and I need some young guys who can interpret these data and bring it in a good form.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Keshe, can you hear me?
Yes. Who's speaking, please?
This is Chad from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada.
Yes, good evening.
And yeah, good evening, good morning. Yesterday in the reactor group with Rick, I asked a question about Iraq, and I'd like to refine it just a little bit now. Is there any possibility in the near future that the Keshe Foundation, or we the people that are the Keshe Foundation, in terms of the doctors, might be conducting some type of test where these people that have been contaminated, their urine is radioactive. And I was wondering, is there any possibility that the doctors or a doctor might be conducting a test with the health unit and a test with just CO2 GANs plasma water over a month or 2 months or 3 months? I was wondering if this is a possibility in the near future.
For purpose, I don't understand.
Well, I was reading in the transcripts that you can get at Amazon, the books, and I was reading in the year one, book one transcript that cesium-137 was completely eliminated. The word eliminated was used. And so is it proven that somebody that's been contaminated with depleted uranium and their urine is radioactive, that if they take CO2 GANs plasma water, or if they go into a health unit, that the radioactivity disappears and it can be measured?
These tests are done by governments, and we have a lot of data on it. And the data, a lot of it is kept confidential because of the process. But there are data which confirm a lot of what we call absorption behavior. It's not the absorption. The material is still present, but no field effect.
So can it be said then that they're no longer radioactive, the people?
No. The radioactive material still exists within the body. Sometime, depending on the structure, we see different behavior of disposal or behavior of no radioactive, what do you call it, radiation. And this is what you call is the linkage of the energy, is not destruction of the radioactive material.
Oh, Well, that's interesting. So it's like a balancing, but the radioactivity is still there at the
Yes,
foundation.
that's what it is. You
Huh.
link up to the fields. You have to find the strength for the fields, and you in a way in the English language you call it neutralize, but in a way you link up the need.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
I think we lost you there for a minute.
No, I'm still here.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I was just, it's been on my heart, like the people of Fallujah. There's so many birth defects, and if there would be some way that we could put a stop to that. I know there's political, like the government itself, like is a problem, so an issue, and there's just so many birth defects. It's horrific.
Yes, but the thing is, some of this has already become part of genetic, part of the body, with the people who've been within it. In the process, you cannot decontaminate, but you can reduce the effects or totally eliminate the effects, but you don't destroy the material. At the same time, with this kind of process, we see the material used such a long time ago that changing it is impossibility because it's become part of the RNA and DNA.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are doing a lot of work on this respect in the background, especially decontamination and cleaning up of different chemicals. And this is very important for our research. As you're aware, we do not disclose any information in any shape or form anywhere, that we can carry on with our work without interruption. And this is important for us. And we go to the people, to places where our work is needed, and the information technology transfer is very, very direct. This is unfortunate because of what we've seen in the past, where we used to bring a lot of new knowledge on the continuous basis in public, then we stopped doing it, but our research development has increased by many fold. Unfortunately, as we develop these technologies, will stay within the governments and the organizations we work with, because we've seen it before, the behavior of the people. So why should we go through the problem of bothering ourselves or the others, where we are working when it's needed, and we deliver to what is needed, instead of becoming a nationally, internationally knowledge, is staying in the local levels, and where we see it can be cross knowledge to somewhere else, we are doing it. The sharing of the contamination with the organizations and the governments is part of our work, and we do it heavily. We have actually a section works for this section, these kind of things, the water, the contamination, water cleanup, and change of the characteristics of different things is part of, we have a specific section for it. But we don't need to disclose anymore to do, but the chemical contamination, nuclear contamination, decontamination does not exist for us, because it still is there, but through the new processes, the effect will not be there. And this is part of the beauty of the work, where we don't destroy the structures. Technology is, you accommodate. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Is anyone else of the, have a couple of hands up here. I'll invite Hassan, and he's made a number of comments in the Q&A.
We are still keeping to the 3 to 4 hours, Rick.
Yes, and we are at 3.5 hours now, so.
Thank you very much.
Let's see, did Hassan come in? What happened there? Let's see him in the list here. Okay. Is there anybody else in the panelists who wanted to speak right now? We have one more attendee, Peter Heisenberg, it seems like. I'm not familiar with the name. I can promote them if we want to. Does anybody recognize that name?
Don't know.
Okay, we might have to get some clearance on that first.
Hello?
Hello. Hassan?
Yes, Hassan. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well. What would you like to say today?
Yeah, it was a little thing about the soul aspect of the teaching.
Can you tell us where you are from, please?
Yeah, Hassan Halal from Senegal. We talked on Tuesday, last Tuesday.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. Regarding the soul, I want to talk a little bit about our Shia background, Muslim Shia background. I'm sure that you know a lot about it. Yeah, we are more used to be taught to fear the Creator instead of loving the Creator. And the aspect of it is that when you're raised with that kind of mentality, you always fear death. But you bring the simplest way, and unfortunately, it's so hard to believe for most of us. I think that's why you say maybe it take 1,000 years for man to realize or to wake up, and for some of us it will be easy. In our Muslim education, they teaches us that they talked about jihad. The jihad, the best jihad, as the Creator says it beautifully, is jihad al-nafs. Is that, I think, it's like killing your ego, killing your physical ego, and giving the trust to your emotional ego. So I think that that one would be the soul. And the problem in our education is that they teach us the fear of God, not the love of God. And you bring it so clearly, so simply. It's hard to believe for most of us. And in our background, our Shia background, especially in our families, even my nearest members of the family, they used to tell you are kafir because now you do not believe in God. We have that concept that hell is we are going to burn in hell when we make sins, like listening to music is a little bit of kind of sins. Playing cards is a kind of sin. You don't have to play cards with money, or playing lotto, trying your chance by lotto is a sin. So all those stuffs, or drinking alcohol, when you're not in that kind of mentality, you consider it as a kafir, even if you pray or if you make the Ramadan. So I want to know how we can easier reach those kind of of souls. I know that you say that if the soul is not ready to receive, we cannot force. By wishing to elevate, I know now, I'm sure that we are helping, we are elevating, but sometimes you feel you're losing so much energy when you're trying to convince. It's easier to talk with people which souls are ready to receive, and it's like it's infused in them. And when we met you and you talk about it some minutes ago, it's because we have wished it so deep in our heart to find the truth, to find the way, the way. When we found it, I want to tell one small thing, and I think many of people with my religious background think the same. When the first time we met you, Mr. Keshe, we're like, is it the Antichrist? Or is it the one who want to turn us from our religion? We used to being told that you have to pray by bending, but we are not used to be told to love and to do not hurt is the key. To give whatever you can from your soul is the key. It's easy. Thank you for bringing it so easy, but the trust has to be built little by little. And we want tips. We want tips to make it easier. If you can give us some tips, some small tips, which can help attain the souls, even the souls which are not ready to receive, how can we reach them a little bit faster?
You want a shortcut?
I would suggest there's around 180 some odd Dolly Seekers workshops full of tips. Every single one of them is one place to start, at least.
Okay, yeah.
If I made a little comment, this is Rodrigo. In order to achieve that state of consciousness and to change the world, we have to understand how we have created chaos in our body through emotions. We have created imbalance in our body due to the pollutions, vaccines, pesticides, GMO food. We have begun to understand this process thanks to Mr. Keshe's teachings. We have begun to solve it, making the GANs, building the MAGRAFs, the health units. We have learned how to create an environment that brings balance to our body. I have been seeing it in my daily practice using plasma technology on those people that have developed diseases. In one way, cleaning or sweeping the path of all the stones that blocks us from having contact with our higher self or with the soul. Once we have that access, you can change the body in any condition. My wish is my command. I'm aware that we have a lot to learn, but we have moving forward. We have to work together for a common good, for awakening of the humanity, to raise the awareness of all, to create heaven on earth, where all entities live in peace, love, and harmony. I haven't seen people that using this technology coming here to my place and starting developing different skills of psychics, clairvoyance, incredible, beautiful things happen. Just encouraging people to teach more people to practice, to learn this technology, and to encourage more people to do so. And just allow the plasma to do this job. It's a beautiful job just doing this plasma. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rodriguez. There is an important point for all of us to consider. Is a lot of, I understand your way of explaining in the Islamic religion. I was brought up through the beautiful country of Iran, which is an Islamic nation. and understand the word of kafir means the one who doesn't believe in God. But it is what we allow to become, and what was the reason behind, which we have to analyze ourselves. Now, not compared to what was said before and the reason was said before. These words of whatever you use that are not clean, you call it kafir. In Jewish language they call it gwem. In Christianity, in English language we have different word for it. But at the end of it, when you look, is if we allow to do and understand more of new things, then we can't control you. These words are words of control, and that's all it is. But the freedom of mind and freedom of intellect, it's us who decide. And it's us to where it fits us, where it suits us. So you can, and you have the freedom to decide. And depends which side of the fence you want to sit on. The knowledge of understanding the totality for the first time is in the hand of the man. No one needs to interpret. You are the user of it. You analyze, you benefit by it. For us as human race, there was a soul. We found something we couldn't understand, and we knew something controls us, something is there which feed us, but we couldn't find. We call it the soul, we call it ruh, whatever we call it in different languages. And then those who knew this thing is not there, they used it to become self-made intermediaries. And from it, they created scares and scarism and punishment. Now that you are educated, you understand what you were afraid of is your own soul, is your own creator, and it's you who benefits by it direct. You don't need to have somebody to tell you to become the bogeyman in between. And this is the beauty of it. Because in space, which bogeyman you're going to accept? Because there are so many strange things that you become a converter of it to a new path, and I believe every second in deep space you see new things and new man who teaches you more. This is the beauty of it. As is in the writing of Baha'u'llah, bless his name, he says, independent investigation of truth is the cornerstone of the knowledge of the man. It's us who have to be independently investigating what we know, does it fit us, and is it beginning of us? Not having a fear of. We see the same thing in the writing of Muhammad, bless his name. Those who made other things out of it was to benefit themselves. It's not in the original writing of Muhammad, bless his name, or Moses, unless this is the way of control. When we call somebody whatever, it means I cannot control you. If you go there, you see the truth, then I have no control. So I forbid you to go, because then I'm not the boss anymore. In English we call it repent. Why do we need to repent? If we conduct ourselves correct from the beginning. Guilt has been one of the main ways of controlling man, human race. By punishment, we emphasize on the guilt, because the man who creates the punishment is the guiltiest of them all. Because he wants to enforce his way. So everything else is guilt. I explained this before. When you bring the word of kafar, or the Jewish call it goyim, which is a non-believer, I sat and analyzed my family very closely. Both sides, the Islamic side and the Jewish side and every other side. And it's very, very strange. I had a Jewish aunt, which in Manchester, not finding a kosher meat could eat a halal meat. And when goes to London and her husband goes to eat a halal meat, now he's a kafir, he's a koim, he's non-believer. But when he suited her there, because it couldn't be any kosher, he was okay. And this is a puzzle which we have created to control. Because this way, he could taste something different that she couldn't make, that then he knew there's a better food outside than in the house because she couldn't cook. This is how we control. This is, I gave a talk very recently about virginity. A man, like a woman has to be a virgin. Have you ever stood still once? What's the reason behind it? Why have we created all these restrictions for each other? Can you switch the microphone off in the background? In a way, is the incompetence of the man who has created this restriction for his incompetence not to show. We create these conditions and we put punishment to it because of our own lack of misunderstanding, lack of understanding and misunderstanding, because then we have to change, not they have. When you have a problem, you explain to the other side, or it gets explained to you the way they see it, that you try to match, you find a solution, a peaceful solution. When you cannot and you try to dictate, then you put punishment for it. Doesn't matter religion, government or whatever. It's us who have to come to understand from now on, we are the police of our own soul and not somebody else's order. The policing has created religions, the policing has created punishment. When you understand from A to B, you don't need anybody in between. Elevating your soul means understanding the operation of the soul. Understanding where and how it gives, and you make it, fine-tune it to give better and no more. This is the challenge for the new human race in space. You find the strongest fields which elevate the others faster, for those to be working much better, not trying to hide it that the other ones can do, because everyone reaches at a time when it's needed, it will be in the strength that is needed. The biggest problem for mankind from now on is to become the police of their own soul. Somebody's microphone is open, please. So this is, instead of bending and praying, the policing now is in the hand of physicality of the man. I always say, go back. Covered. And the Iranian priest, the Zoroastrian, said, we put a curtain on our eye for our women to be free. We police our conduct. I come from Russian background and I believe entirely in what it says. Think good, do good. Pendaranik, Goftaranik, Kerdaranik. Talk good. To understand it is the touch. To act upon it is maturity. In my last visit to Tehran, I went to the Russian temple because it was where I was educated. I asked the priest to allow me to sit in the house of fire, in the temple of fire. With the greatest of pleasure, I was taken to the temple, to the room of fire. And the fire to me at that point, which is going for thousands of years in Iran, that fire has never stopped. It wasn't the essence of the fire. It was understanding the essence of the soul which touched. You could see, I'm connected. But those who over thousands of years have kept this fire of truth on. We have to understand the truth through our soul. And then our physicality will follow. Then there is no intermediaries. We have to understand the operation of the space work. Then there is no need for ganses and there is no need for whatever you want to put on it to feed yourself, to clothe yourself. Because in the space there are no ganses. The source is your soul, and the limitation is the environmental field which gives you the dimension of the manifestation. And the sooner the man finds this, the sooner man will find peace. I made man in the image of myself. If the creator is perfect, how can man not be? Shall we call it a day?
Yes, we're just about at our time limit here. There's a couple of people still had questions, but I think we can move them forward to the next session.
Please, if we can do, because then we have to restart the live stream again. We've got a few minutes left.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for everything. The process.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much indeed. The process of writing the charter will carry on Tuesday afternoons. Please participate to write this charter for humanity. This becomes the blueprint for peace and man's interaction in space. The longer it takes, the more we understand, the more mature we are, the more understanding will add to it. This charter will not finish writing, it will be written for hundreds of years, will be added to as we mature in the deeper space knowledge. But it's the beginning. We can write the man's version till the man of space show us another version that we add to it, the way we understand it to elevate our souls. Thank you very much for today, and thank you for everybody in the background.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. So that'll be Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central European time for the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for world peace. Okay, let's end today's session. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And for
as usual, we go out with the music.
Yes, that would be great. If Flint can have that ready, that would be fantastic.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you very much indeed, Flint. I hope you have a good time with the hurricane and you'll have no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We send a protective umbrella around you.
Yes, thank you very much.
There is no noise. Hello?
Yeah, we're not hearing the sound there, Flint.
Sorry about that.